Hey, welcome to the RV Boss. My name is Willie, and in this video, I want to share my experience installing some vinyl sheet flooring in my 2007 Class C RV. I'll be replacing a piece of vinyl sheet flooring that I installed last year, but due to a water leak, some mold entered the bathroom area and then started to form mold all throughout the underneath area of the flooring. So I just went ahead and just replaced the entire floor throughout the RV. So material obviously I'll be using is the flooring itself, some non-adhesive masking paper to create the template, and then duct tape to tape that down and then roll it up. Also tools wise, just a utility knife to make the cuts, and then also to secure the floor down, I'm going to use 3/8 inch construction staples with a staple gun and just put those on the perimeter of the floor. So with that, let's go check out the video. Okay, so here's the before photo. As you can see here, it's a white vinyl sheet flooring as well. But what happened was the seal in the bathroom area, I didn't close it off on the underneath. So water ended up leaking out, it got underneath and it caused molding. So you can see here in this photo or this video here, all this black area, shadow area, that's all molding underneath and inside of it. So I had to go ahead and take it all out, and good thing is, I mean, it's a fairly flexible material, so you can tear it out pretty easy. And I didn't use any sealant or glue or anything like that, just use staples on the perimeter, so it was easy to pull up. So I just went ahead and started disassembling here all the flooring components, pulled up all the molding here, and you can see it's really dirty underneath here. I'm guessing white probably wasn't the best option as far as coloring when you have a high traffic rental vehicle. So that was my bad. Once I pulled up all this molding and then got the staples, started pulling the staples out, it was easy to just go ahead and tear out. So you can see here as I start to rip it up, there's this dampness in between the original flooring and then the vinyl sheet flooring here, and that's been there for about 2 months. So it was really starting to accumulate a lot of mold. So once I got that taken out, I got the toilet disassembled, and I removed that and pulled that out. I decided just to go ahead and clean everything up and just leave that flooring there, but this time place a sealant perimeter around the flooring base, just so that in case any water comes in or spills again, it won't be able to penetrate underneath like last time. So after that, disassembled all the dinette set in the front room and then took that out, and then I used this masking non-adhesive masking paper with the duct tape and just rolled it out onto the floor, the subfloor here in the front room, and then all throughout the RV. Cut it. It's kind of hard to work with because it's in a roll, so you have to, tape one side down and then unroll it. I did about a 1.5 feet, I guess, of overlap, and then duct taped it down, and then cut it, and then just followed that process throughout the rest of the RV. Really, I think the idea is just to make sure it's as secure as possible, so that when you roll it up and pull it out, it doesn't start falling apart or rip or anything like that. So here's a kind of a shot of all the way into the bathroom area and then all throughout the flooring area. Next, I just unrolled the flooring onto my driveway. They recommend you put it on a clean surface. I just used the driveway. It's not really clean, but it seemed to work okay. There was some markings on the bottom of it, just from being out on the driveway, but not too bad. So once I got that rolled out, I went back inside, got the template rolled back up, and carefully tried to make sure that nothing tore or ripped or anything like that. So once I got that, just kind of slowly pulled it out of the door so that I could get it outside and placed on top of the flooring. So once outside, I just took the template and placed it in the exact orientation that I had it on the interior of the RV flooring, and then just placed it all along the flooring outside. Tried to use the duct tape to paste it or to tape it down, but it just kept rolling back up. It wasn't sticking or to the flooring well, so I ended up just scrapping that idea and just put weights and a couple other things that I used to weigh it down, just so it wouldn't roll back up again until I could get, the perimeter cut along the exterior of the template. So here it is, all rolled out. And then next, what I did was just used a straight edge here and just went all the way down on the perimeter of the flooring, making the cut at about 3 inches outside of the template itself. That way, it allowed me to have some room for error when I was inside cutting. Last time I did that, I didn't do it, and I was very precise in my cut, and I ended up coming up short in certain areas. One thing I noticed that if it's not cut perfectly, it will start to rip when you're pulling it up. So in those cases, I just either went back over it and cut it again, or I just was really careful and pulled it apart, like right here. So once that was complete, then just took the excess off, rolled it up, and set it to the side. Okay, so then just rolled up the entire flooring cutout and transported it back inside the RV. Once inside, I just kind of laid it out in the exact same orientation that it was cut, as close to the perimeter of the wall as possible, taking into account that there's a 3 to 4 inch, extra space. So I just rolled it out. Where I live, it was, at the time of installation, it was 40 degrees outside, so it made the material, the flooring, a little bit more rigid than when I did it in the summertime when it was warmer. So it was a little bit more difficult to handle, but still it was pretty pliable, and I was able to move it into position. And then once I got it into position, I just started to make cuts around the perimeter of the wall and as close to, in this case, the dinette frame as I could, and careful not to tear or rip or anything like that. So from here, it was just a matter of just doing the tedious cutting around the perimeter, and then tucking in and readjusting everything just so that I can get it as straight as possible underneath the couch and then across the floor. It was a little crooked, so I had to just keep, kind of moving it around until I got it straightened out. And then once I got to the kitchen area next to the cabinets, just really careful, and under the couch, just really careful to cut, taking my time and not putting too much pressure on the flooring so it didn't rip or tear. And then just once the cuts are made, just massaging it and working it underneath the couch here, and then underneath the stove area. And then once I got to the areas where it was close to the cabinets, I usually was cutting close, and it was leaving a little space like you can see here, so I had to make the adjustment just to cut a little bit higher, just so that it gave me some space to work with, and then kind of incrementally make the adjustments as I went along. Most of the molding was going to cover at least 3/4 of an inch, so I had some space to kind of play with, but as you can see here, it started to rip and tear at the top where I was handling it, so I had to just be very careful. And then in the bathroom area, just made my cuts again, just kind of incrementally going around and around until I got it exactly where I needed it, not to leave too much space around the perimeter of that hole for the toilet. Now cutting around the shower area because of the angle, it was a little tricky, but I got as close as I could. I didn't have any molding that could go around that I knew of that was flexible like that, so it was a little tricky. And then the same for against the wall. And then I just tucked it underneath the carpet here and put down this clear sealant. I think you can use any like caulk or clear caulk or silicone or anything like that. This was just a clear sealant that I found at Home Depot. So I just placed that, as you can see, underneath the flooring itself, and then all around the perimeter of the floor itself, and just kind of made a circular barrier underneath it in hopes to just prevent. As you can see here in the back where the plumbing is, that's where the water leaked in the last time. And then underneath the toilet, I did the same thing around the perimeter of the toilet hole there. And then just use 3/8 inch construction staples with an air gun, and then just stapled it in along the perimeter again with 3/4 inch molding. It hid all the staples, so I wasn't concerned with anything showing up, and it did turn out that it hid most of it. I used the staples versus taking the glue and placing that underneath, just because last time I did that, it held out pretty well, kept everything in place. And it also was easier this time when I had to take it up. If I would have had to scrape glue off of it, that would have been tough. And then right here on these small pieces, I used the wall base adhesive, and I just placed that around underneath. Then use some staples to put it down. So once that was complete, I just made sure everything was reassembled, and then went to do the cuts for the quarter round for the molding. And I used just wood 3/4 inch molding quarter round that I ended up staining, and to try to match the flooring a little bit. So put that in place, and then I used a nail gun just to secure those and make sure that they were in there tight. Okay, so here is the final kind of look of how everything turned out. And I used, just like I said, that wall base covering just to put the pieces against the steps there. And then with all the molding finished around the perimeter, I think it turned out nice. It looks a lot better, obviously, than that first flooring with the mold stains in it. And then this area in the hallway, I noticed that it had some air pockets in there. I got it as tight as I could, so it's not terrible, but I figure I'll just put a carpet over top of it and a rug, and put that over top of it. Should be okay. So overall, just real happy with the way the flooring turned out. My biggest hope is that seal that I placed on the floor in the bathroom holds this time and prevents any moisture from seeping in underneath, because I don't want to deal with that mold issue again, but I think it should be okay. If you have any comments or questions that I can help you with, please leave those in the comment section below, and hopefully this video helped out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.